irritating, they might be not so much irritated the next time. I think to explain rules as well, it's very important. Very often you don't do explaining rules because you expect they have to know the rules.
Might be.
That's very often the part as well.
Yeah. Might be.
Yeah, and again, I think it's really, really important that you know the values of the other countries. And I thought we can do a little exercise if you want. We don't have breakout rooms. We can't do breakout rooms. We are not enough people. I prepared something, but we can do it together, I think. What I prepared is that I thought we can talk about certain values in certain countries and have a look on them. What are the values? And again, if you hit values, you will be sanctioned. A very good example is Germany. You know, you ask for a meeting, 9 o'clock, and I have, for example, a Turkish colleague coming 10 past 9 every time, yeah, or 9:15, because time is different in Turkey, maybe, yeah. He hits my value. What is the typical German value? Punctuality. If he's doing that the first time, it's okay. The second time, I'm getting angry. And the third time, he will have some problems. And for that, I think it's really important that you know the values of the countries you are working with, of other countries, you know. And very often, you are even not aware of your own values. That's, for me, the interesting part, yeah. Let's have a look. Let's go first. Let's start with the Turkish. What can you tell me? I'm going and write it for you, and just we talk about what do you think are typical, what is a typical Turkish value? Like I said, in Germany, it's punctuality. What do you think? Just shout it out.
Hospitality.
Hospitality. Okay, what else?
Practical intelligence.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
Practical intelligence.
Yeah.
What kind of intelligence? Sorry.
We know how to make shortcuts.
Yes.
Short ways.
Practical. I would call it network.
Yeah.
Is it networking?
Not networking, shortcuts. Shortcuts.
Okay, shortcuts.
Yeah.
Good.
We don't like too many procedures.
Okay, what else? One more or two more.
Yeah, we love to self-sacrifice ourselves.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, whenever sacrificing people.
Respect
Yeah, sorry, Ibrahim Bey.
Respect.
Respect to seniority.
Family.
Family. Good, we have 5. Let's have 5 here. Who is non-Turkish? Just Christelle, right? Yeah, Christelle, I don't know. I will go ahead with the German ones. Maybe you all know some of the German ones. What do you think? What is the German value? I told you one already, that's punctuality.
Respect of the rules.
Rules, we love rules. Right, rules. Then we have, what else?
Kind of civic responsibility or something, like consider the other people and respect their rights.
And of course, quality, I would say. Quality. Okay, so we have 4 or 5. And the last one, I will go to the Thai. What do you think are Thai values? Do you have any idea? You live in this country.
Respect to elderly people. Similar like in Turkish culture.
Yes.
Quite similar.
What else?
Never say no.
Sorry, I hardly can understand you.
They don't say no.
Do you think that's a value? I think it's more kindness. So, And I think a very, very important thing is what you learned here is hierarchy, isn't it? And as well, I asked also my maid and a friend, it's family, of course. The
Can
family is
it
very
be
strong.
religion?
Family and religion, yes. Then we have 5, that's enough. So, religion. What do you think, if you're in work-wise, which is the highest value in Thailand?
Happiness.
Happiness, yeah. Sabai. Yeah. But if you work, the hierarchy is a very important part in Thailand. Yeah. Talking about hierarchy, who is who, you know that exactly. And later on, we want to talk about hierarchy.
I think very patient. Actually, I live more than 30 countries in the world. Thailand, my last country. What I see, I work in Germany, UK, Arabic, Africa, many countries. So in here, almost 1 year I am here. What I see, very patient people, patient. Nobody, just angry at traffic. Even they mistake, they respect each other.
Yeah.
But many country people fighting. Many country. I
Because they
think
don't
very
want to lose face, that's
this
one
is
of the values. Yeah.
good value, just
Yeah.
very patient.
Yeah,
very
right.
patient.
But if you hit this value, for example, that they are going to lose the face, then you will have a problem. If you had the value hierarchy, then you will have a problem. But I want to point out one thing. I don't know how it is in Christelle's home country, but I did this with 20 different cultures, and in every culture is family except Germany. Do you have an idea why? In Germany, you never have family in the values. Never, ever.
Yes, I know why.
Do you think they don't like the families?
No support. Of course, they are supporting, but they are, giving like when your children 18 years old, you are giving power to them to be individual.
Yeah.
And then you are sending them to the outside of the family, and they can get home and they can go and work. For example, our culture, we don't do that. Still, they are our child and same home, staying same home. But German culture, yes, like that. Families, after they are growing up, they are leaving family. But I don't know.
I can explain you a bit why that is. And this is in many, as I said, Christelle, I don't know how it is in your culture. But in many cultures, I will lead you here. It is the reason for is that the Germans, what they are doing, as almost no country is, they absolutely separate between work and private life. In other, like in Turkey as well, you have a little overlapping, that you go out with colleagues sometimes, or you have a drink or go away. And here you spend your leisure time and also your friends. But in Germany, we call it Schnaps is Schnaps and beer is beer. So we separate totally. So we have colleagues that are working 20 years together, never had a beer. Never ever, And therefore, you will not find on the values private things like family. If you look on German values, it's all about punctuality, quality, all things like that. It's all related to business. And you will find almost the same in Austria. I don't know, Christelle, how is it in your home country?
Okay, I'm from Belgium, and it's tricky because we have 2 different cultures.
True.
So one that is more Germanic, I would say, but I'm from the French-speaking part,
and you have more the right one.
More Southern, a bit more Latin.
Yes. Yeah. So you see how important it is to know the values. And if you, as I said, if you hit the values of another country, then you really get in trouble. And let's have a look also on values and on things here. Do you have any questions so far for that?
No.
No. Good. Then, because we said hierarchy is so important in Thailand as well, then let's have a look on leadership in Thailand as well. And I think maybe in the old-fashioned Turkish areas, you could find that similar. So we are talking about hierarchy and equality. That's very different, and it depends on the company. As you said, Asra, it depends on which company you're working. But I said at the beginning, you weren't here. It always depends on your experience as well, Asra. If you never went out of Turkey, you will behave in a different way than you studied in the US and working in other countries for 20 years. For sure, that will be a big, because you learned and you changed and so on. So, and we said we will talk about the mainstream. Yeah, I give up the moderation, and I would like to ask you, maybe you can find some examples about social hierarchies. For example, it could be like old and young. Maybe you have any idea, and just grab a sticky note and put it in and write something in if you have any idea about social hierarchies. Minnie, you can go on the bottom and then just grab one of the sticky notes which are prepared already, Minnie,
Okay.
on the left side, and click it once, move it up and double click, and then you can write.
Okay.
That's the advantage in concept board. I can see what you do. Patriarchy, for example. Yes, that's a good one. Men, women, rich, poor, and healthy and sick. Wow, great, Serkan. That's really good. Yep. Boss and employee. Yep. Ibrahim, it's so dark. Are you in the car? That's why. I don't know, Minnie. Yeah, it's now it works. Yeah, double click. Let's wait until Minnie. Position, experience, inexperience. Yeah. Well, nice examples. Okay. Then let's have a look what I have for you. And I have to tell you, what I show you now is not it's not science. It's no research. It's something. It's my own model. But I thought it is very helpful. It could be very helpful. So the man, Confucius. Yeah, of Confucius, he said former times, there are different hierarchies in the society. And what he said is usually that old is higher than young, or powerful, more powerful than young. We found here men and women. We found the father and the son, and teacher and student. And then I extended it to the daily life or business life for you. And here we find what you have mentioned as well. For example, the boss is higher than the employee, customer and supplier. We have the headquarter and the branch. And very often, if you do business trips, we have the host and the guest. And then we have something which is usually on the same level. That's friend and friend. Some of them on the top are from the Confucius, friend and friend as well. So what's behind here? So what do you think? What do you think is a good father? What good behaviors he has? What should he do as a good father? What is his job for a child? What do you wish from a good father?
A good father.
Showing example.
Who loves his kids' mother.
Right? Be a model.
Yeah.
Be a model, doing examples. What else? What he or she's usually, or he, the father, is usually doing.
Benjamin
The
Franklin.
authority.
Authority. Also making decisions. Usually we as parents decide where our children are going to school, right? We are doing some decisions for the children. And some more jobs. And I will show you in the next chart what people usually say, what is a good father. So
What
we have
people?
here, he has time, he's responsible, he takes decisions, he's taking care. That's what you do from the father to the son. But on the other side, there is something expected from the son.
Yes.
It's respect. I think it's very important that you are respectful to your parents. Loyalty. I don't want that my girl is telling me, the dress you worn yesterday is horrible. So in front of everybody, of course not. and obedience, and very often no contradiction is expected, or not too much contradiction. And you see, what you can do here in Thailand is for sure take this one and make copy and paste to all the others down here. And I will give you one or two examples here as well. For example, you're responsible, you're taking care of the host to the guest. I was invited in Korea for the HR of a company I worked for. Every time when I was there, the HR man invited me for dinner because he's the host and he thinks he has to take care of me. Yeah. And then the next time I said, no, it's not possible. I'm your supplier. And he said, no, you're my guest. And I said, but I'm older than you. And then it worked. I could pay. Yeah. That's one example. Another example with the host and the guest is I worked with Chinese people and they were a supplier to a company. And they said, Mrs. Noss, we do not understand. If these Germans are coming to China, we are the hosts, we always invite them, we pay for them, and we take care. But if we are going to Germany, we have to pay again because we are the supplier. We do not understand the system. Yeah. And I told them, they don't know this system, you know. And taking care is, as well, very often, you have to tell me what I have to do if you are the boss. You have the responsibility and you are the boss. And you have to tell me, please, step by step by step, what I have to do if you're a good boss, because you have to take care. Again, please do not generalize. Maybe you have really good Thai people or from other cultures. But if we're talking about the mainstream, it's very often, you didn't tell me. Or for example, if I tell to Serkan, I'm your boss, and I tell you, please, can you make by end of April a report with this and that facts and figures? Can you do that? And he will say yes. And I think, okay, I gave him the task, he will do it. And I never ask again. What do you think will happen?
Deadline is only a reminder for Thai people, if you ask me.
Yeah. If you don't ask me, if I'm coming to Serkan on the, let's say, 28th, and I will ask, have you done it? Then you see, panicking in the eyes. He didn't do anything because you didn't ask again. And you didn't take care. So he thought it's not important. And he opened the drawer, put it in and closed the drawer. It's very important if you're on the left side here that you take care and maybe go to the people and ask them, do you need any support? Is there something I can help you? And if you don't ask frequently, I talk again about the mainstream, not about people who are very responsible and so on. And that's a very important point where we are aware of that they are not responsible. They don't want to work. It's not true. What do you think what they think about me if I'm the boss?
That's your bad boss. You didn't do your job.
I'm not doing my job well. Yeah, I have really to take care. And it's the same if you look on the teacher. And if you look how they learn here in Thailand, the teacher's in the front and teaching and nobody is asking a question. Why is nobody asking a question? There's a saying in Asia, if you take your head out of the group, you will be shot. So usually they don't ask questions in meetings, during the meetings as well, because they never learned it at school. When do you ask questions?
Why in Asia they are not asking questions to the teachers?
There's three reasons for. The first reason, I don't want to be the bird who's taking out the head of the group. The second is, what happens if the teacher has no answer? Then I blamed him. He will lose his face. And the third is, I will not keep everybody busy with my single question. So what I'm going to do is, I ask after the class. I ask after the meeting. And therefore, I really often recommend that you stay after a meeting in the room to give the people a chance to come to you and ask questions. If you're asking questions in front of everybody and asking, do you have a question? they will not answer. If you ask 3 or 4 times what you're doing, you're repeating, showing them it's important, and then maybe they will ask a really simple question to make sure you can answer it. Yeah. So I think for me, it's very important that you always know, I'm at the moment on the left-hand side or I'm in the moment on the right-hand side. What is the expectation here from my side, my behavior? So for me, I think that's a key model here for me, for Asia, working with Asians, and also that you have to take care, for example, the boss and the employee, you have to take care of your mate and of your people. You pay if she has to go to dentist or anything. Usually you have to. Then you're a good boss. Yeah. Also the branch, very often they don't do any decisions because they are waiting for the decision from the headquarter. And for them, the big problem is if they're in the branch, if they have the customer in the background, because then they have a sandwich position. They have on the one hand the customer who is threatening them, and then they have the headquarter, it's not answering, and then they are really in trouble. And I always say the most important thing is, and I think it's the same in the Turkish culture, please tell me, contradict if it's not true, but I think if you're going on the level friend, everything is much more easy. That's your shortcut, right?
Yes, true.
Yeah, and you have the big advantage as Turkish people that's very, in some things, it's really similar to Thailand. And therefore, the Germans and other people are so much struggling here in Thailand because they don't know this system, how this is working for you. You think, might be, yeah, Brunella?
I'm sorry, I would just I'm not really a Zoom user. That's why my name's Ebru. I'm Turkish too. I live in Bangkok.
Yes.
So actually what I would like to say is I believe hierarchy is much more important back in Turkey than here in Thailand. I can't really say much about the entire... much about the entire Asia, maybe Southeast Asia, yes, because I'm working on the same under the same umbrella. But if you ask me here in Thailand, that you need to really earn their respect first, even if it doesn't really matter that you're older and you know better, as long as you're foreigner.
Yeah, I totally agree. You need the respect. I think you need the respect everywhere. And the respect is, I don't know if you were here before, Brunella, the respect is that you know the values of the people and that you don't hit the values. And if you respect people and their values, I think that's the first step, of course. And that's a very important step. And I really don't know about if the Turkish hierarchy is more strong or the Thai. I'm not quite sure how that is. You are the people who know that. But for definitely, and also here, later on we will go to have a look on China, Korea, and for example, South Korea. And of course, there are differences here. In China, it's more flat. But if you go to Japan or even to Korea, in Korea, it's the most hierarchical country. And Thailand could be less, of course. It's not everywhere exactly the same. I absolutely agree. But the system, the model, more or less, I think you can apply. Yeah, and have a look what is your job if you're on the left side or on the right. Or it gives you an explanation why people maybe are not asking questions in the meeting, things like that. For me, it's more a model to show and tell you the why it is. Is this okay for you so far, Brunella?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this one we have seen already. Do you have any other ideas, questions, comments for this concept or model or however we would call it? And as I said, it's very short today. Usually I go much deeper in it. I just can give you a little overview today. Usually we go ahead and we have some exercises for this as well and so on. It's just to give you a little idea for today. And of course, it's just a little bit insight. Good. Yeah, and here I want to come to the part, Asia are all the same, and maybe that's exactly what you said, right? Or it's not just Asia, many countries are the same. And again, I want to show you a model first, one model, which is my own model, but later on I will give you a research from Mr. Lewis as well. So this one, I made not really any numbers, facts, but usually I think it could help you to see differences of different countries or different cultures, not countries, cultures. And I make just two sides. And of course, it's a bit drawing, it's a bit stereotype, but sometimes stereotypes really can help as well. I think stereotypes not always just bad. And sometimes they are needed to get an explanation for something. And what I call is that we have sometimes cultures that have more or less a trader mentality, and we also have a manufacturer mentality. And what do you think if I would say Switzerland, for example? What do you think? What kind of mentality are the Swiss? More manufacturer or more trader?
Manufacturer.
Yes, for sure. Think about cheese and everything. But the bank, I know the bank business, but this came after the Second World War. But this is the Swiss, right? If I ask you for Arabian countries, where do you want to put them?
Traders.
Yes, traders. And let's say the Chinese? What do you think?
Manufacturer.
Both.
Yeah, exactly. I go with both.
It depends which area. This country is so big, it's the same like in the US. You know, you can't say they're this or that. But if I look for the people who are you working with business-wise, usually there are here on the left side, China. I will let you know later why I write this there. Where do you think are the Germans?
Manufacturer, I guess.
Of course, machinery, manufacturer, Germans. And the Turkish?
Trader.
Trader, I think so, yes. Turkey. And Japanese?
Manufacturer.
Right. Japanese. Is somebody of you working with Koreans? Because the Koreans are in the middle, and they're really the hardest people to work with, and business-wise, they are very tough. So if we look here on the two sides, that's maybe some of them are more left or more right. What we can see here on the right-hand side, for example, in Germany, if you are on the Autobahn and you're always driving on the left-hand side, which you are just allowed to when you're very fast, and you don't do so, then after a while you get trouble on the German Autobahn. Yeah, they will show you, and you have to go around. Or if you're going to the butcher and you're not queuing correctly, then somebody will tell you you are wrong. Yeah. So here in these countries, it's very, very important to follow the rules. We want to follow rules because we are always scared that society will sanctionize us, or somebody will sanctionize us. And it could be somebody. As I said, in the butcher, there's somebody, but you have to go, and here's the end of the queue, and so on, telling you what is right and what is wrong. So that you follow the rules. And here, of course, you also follow the rules, but different rules.
Can we say that your country system changed the people culture? For example, as I know, 1960s, 50s, a lot of Turkish people migrated to Germany because in that time, and industrial development in Germany, very big.
Yeah.
And so factory, plants, to work factory, a lot of procedures, process and rules. And people working 76 days in the factory and with a lot of rules, systematic work. And these people don't misunderstand me, like a robots programmed by the government. A lot of rules, go there, read the cards, and 10 minutes break, go back, like a robot. Don't misunderstand this. Then these people become punctual business people, more systematic people, because of this kind of system. Do you think it may?
Yeah, it is. I agree, but they have to follow the rules. Otherwise, they will lose the job. You know, that's what we said. There are common rules. If they don't follow the rules, they will be sanctioned. And that's the rule, punctuality or whatever, or the value, and then they will lose the job. But these people, for example, as you said, Turkish people, second, third generation, or people like my husband and me, 20 years outside of Germany, you know, I call them eggs and bananas. Why? We have a lot of eggs in Germany. Eggs are outside very German, Turkish people. They behave very German, they speak fluently German, but inside they have the yellow. This are the Turkish rules, the Turkish values, and it's not judging. It's not good or bad, you know, but still you have the yellow inside. And I always say my husband is a banana, you know, outside he's very yellow, right? Because he's behaving like an Asian, he's very quiet, he's always never says no really, and so on. But inside he's white, a banana, he's German, he is so German, you know. And of course, you can have these people. That's what we said at the beginning. It depends which experience you have and where you grew up. But coming back here to that one, to the trader mentality, saying Turkish people don't have rules, it's wrong. You have really rules, for example, tough rules within the family. And as far as I know, if you are the younger brother, you don't call your older sister by their first name in traditional. You call her older sister, right? And here you see, you call the grandfather from the mum in a different way with the grandfather from the dad. You see, you have a hierarchy within the family already. And this is a rule, you are following the rule. And here you need the shortcuts, and here you have the relationship. And it's like an onion in countries, these traders. Then you have the second. The second are your colleagues, your best friends, yeah? You're responsible, you have a network, that's your network. Or how did you say, you had another saying for that? These are your very best friends, and you give a favor, you take a favor, and so on. And then you have the third layer. The third layer is your colleagues or neighbors you don't know very well. And last but not least, you have a layer outside, and I call them nobody. If you are not introduced to the people, this usually in China is extremely, they don't take care so much what they are thinking about me. And for a very good example for me is if you go into a restaurant in these countries, and if I go in a restaurant in that countries, it's a big difference. On the right-hand side, it's always quiet. Because if I go out with my children, I will say, don't be quiet, don't be too noisy, be quiet. What should the others think about us? Very important for me as a German. Here, children running around, and if they're happy, it's great, and I don't take care of somebody, not too much care. It's a bit over the top what I'm talking here. So there we have here's very much rule orientated. Here is not too much, of course, within the family, and so rule orientated. And also the planning is a big difference between the countries. And here maybe it collides Turkey with Japan. The time management. Why? If I'm a manufacturer and I want to build a car, for example, I have really to plan very carefully. I need so many tires, I need the screws, I need this, I need that. And in Germany, believe it or not, if you order a kitchen, you have to wait up to 6 months. Before, if you ordered a telephone, it was 2 to 3 months. Everything has to plan, be organized, yeah? As a trader, can you plan very far ahead? Usually you don't plan very far ahead because you never know what's coming up tomorrow. And for me, I was very surprised when Mickey came and said, Sylvia, can you do in 2 weeks a webinar? And I said, what, 2 weeks? It's too short for me as a German. 2 weeks is for me. If she would have said, I said, can we do it in April or May? I asked her, and then she said, it would be great, end of March. I said, I can do it. And that's, of course, advantage and disadvantage. The Germans are called as extremely unflexible. And this is an advantage and a disadvantage, of course. Here we have a typical thing for this here are the mentality of traders. And these are the typical things for the manufacturers, you know. And there are many advantages and disadvantages. And if these two cultures are colliding, then you very often have problems, especially if you're working with Japanese as Turkish. Yeah, because then the planning, everything has to be far ahead, and 20 people are involved, or 30 people are even more involved. Yeah. To have hard deadlines, low context communication, yeah, no, high context communication here, long term, group work, and very flexible. And I will give you one example. I think we will skip, because we are too less people, we can't do the breakout rooms here. And I will take that one away. This one I take away. So, and I give you an example. You see here, year numbers, 1995, 97, and so on until 2008. And here you see manpower, how many people are involved in a project, for example. And maybe you can remember when the people from Brazil, they got the World Soccer, and they knew they have to build a lot of stadiums and buildings. And it should be finished at, let's say, 2008. Can you remember what happened? No? What happened in South Africa? Can you remember there?
Were they super late? I can't remember.
Yeah, they were late, exactly. So they learned, let's say 95, we will have the World Soccer, and we have to plan and to have to build something. And they started planning and planning and planning and planning. And then finally they said, you know, it's coming up. And then they put a lot of manpower in. The Chinese as well, with the maybe the Olympic Games, you remember, but nothing was finished. And at the end, they put in a lot of manpower. Let's have the Germans, they learned, let's say 96 and to 2008, they learned we have to do the European soccer games. What do you think? How much manpower they stepped in? They started to plan already in 95. They started with over 60%. And then they went up and planned very far. And of course, at the end, they went up here as well. What do you think if you're working with Japanese? How is their time management and planning? Do you have any experience?
Like German?
No. I work with my Japanese colleagues. Not at all. I mean, not good really. Time management is not good, so that's why they spend more time.
They spend more time.
I mean, they work a lot. I mean, continuously. I mean, work a lot means, but I cannot say efficient really.
Yeah, right.
Because of not right time management.
Yeah, exactly. And they have a lot of manpower. If you look at the blue one, a lot of people are always involved. Yeah. So now we have a real gap here. If you look at that one here, we have a gap here. You see that? And this is what people usually cannot handle, this gap. For example, let me get in here again, one more. So what do you think? What are the Germans thinking about these cultures? What do they think work-wise? I couldn't hear you, Ibrahim. So you're phoning. So what do you mean? So the Germans, if I work with the Chinese together in a project and they are working in this way, and I'm as a German working in that way, what do you think, what I think about the Chinese people?
I think German company very expensive. I will not do business with you.
So you're thinking from the Chinese way?
Because your cost is very high in the beginning. A lot of manpower.
Yeah.
But your quality in the end very high. And success rate very high.
That's
if
the point.
you are a good investor, you will understand that and you will pay German company.
Yeah.
Even it means they are like expensive.
And what I think as a German about this culture is they are doing nothing. everything at the end, and then at the end they work like the hell. What the Chinese are thinking about the Germans is, or about the Japanese is, they are not flexible. They don't change plans because they planned everything ahead. And there's a good example in China when they did the maglev, this trans-rapid train. So the mayor, I think should be finished 2003, and the mayor decided, because he wanted to be retired, to finish it at 2002, end of 2000. So what he made is he put on a lot of manpower here to finish the tracks. They made the tracks, but the trains were delivered by Siemens. And the Chinese said to the Germans, we need the trains 6 months earlier. The answer of the German was, it's not possible. We have a union, we have planned everything, there's a high manpower in. And the Chinese said, they're not flexible at all, and next time we will do it with the French. They are much more flexible. What do you think were the Turkish? I give up the moderation, you can make a line if you want.
Turkish same, yeah, like Chinese. We allocate less resources. Government also working like that in the beginning.
Yeah.
Also, there is an idiom about that, but I cannot translate right now this idiom. We only last minute booming everything.
Yes.
In the end, everybody work very hard and
That's
booming.
it.
Yeah.
And then you work overnight and night shifts, Ibrahim. No, just kidding. And of course, but you have a big advantage here. The advantage is that area because you can change your plans very quickly without big costs. That's something Germans and Japanese cannot do. It's a big decision making. If something is decided in Japan to change the decision, it's really, really hard because so many people are involved already. And you see here, these countries are extremely expensive as well. A lot of manpower, what you said, Serkan, it's exactly what you said. So the flexibility of Germans is not very high. But your flexibility is extremely good. And that's what I want to say. You have advantages and disadvantages. Every country has this. And I think the goal could be in the future to get the Germans a bit more down and maybe the Turkish a bit more up, or the Thais, yeah. But the Thai people, they have a bit the same like the Chinese, And for you, it's an advantage as well because they are working a bit in the same, but it's really hard. It's really stressful, I think, working in that way as well. But here it's a high cost, high power. And I don't want to say it's wrong or it's right. I just want you to know it's different. I want to make an awareness that this is like it is. Yeah, you can't change the people really.
But this is the correct way. Your way, Japanese and Germany way. I'm just saying that expensive, of course, but there is a cost of quality. If you assign many people as a percentage at the beginning, you can identify and eliminate a lot of risk issues and cost of defects. In the end, your products less defect. If many defects, end of project, it will very costly. It will be very costly.
You're right. If you go back, I don't want to say the Turkish quality is not good, but the reputation, if you look on this country here, is expensive and high quality, right? On the right-hand side.
Yes, but we learn Turkey learned from Europe. Turkey learned from Germany. Now we cannot say Turkish products low quality, very good quality.
And it's the same, I write in here Korea, and I lived in Korea 95, and Korean products had no good reputation, but they are going to move more right and right. Of course, time is changing, exactly, Serkan. We can't put in, but it's just a model to understand, the difference between maybe this trader mentality and manufacturer and time planning. I think and the flexibility. And I can tell you one more example from daily life. When I was pregnant, so I was late to look for a midwife. And I was, I think, in the 5th or 6th month already. And I started calling all the midwives in Germany. And they just laughed at me and said, haha, you should call me when you are in the 2nd month. And I was really frustrated and told my husband. And he said, I have a Chinese colleague and she had a great midwife. Here's the phone number, call her. And I called her and she told me, just come in. And I said, finally she was Turkish, you know, absolutely flexible. So that was great. And you see, so the planning sometimes could be also very, it's very time consumption and money consumption if you have this high impact, the high personal, people working with many people working on that. Yeah, that's just another example for you for today. Do you have questions for that? And then I have one last point for you, a very short one, but I like that one. Good. Then I go over and take over the moderation. Yeah, as I told you, the trader and manufacturer is no research. You know, it's their own model. And here, but we have one here, The Cultural Dimensions by Lewis and Hall. And there are some people called Hofstede. And I think Hofstede is a bit outdated. He's doing this so-called cultural dimensions. But exactly like you said, Serkan, you know, the world is changing very quickly at the moment. And I think you can't put, and his research is often from 85. So that's why I like Louis, because every country can find himself. And I have that one. I brought you this one and I like that. So you see here. He put on a triangle again. They all love triangle, obviously. And you can see here, they say that's the blue corner, and the color blue means usually cold and very structured. So, and he said the people on the far left corner, they are linear active. Called it. That means cool, factual, facts and numbers. You have a schedule, you're following, and so on, and you are not very flexible. Then you have the multi-active people here. They're warm, emotional, impulsive. The country is very important as well. And I always say they are talking with hand and feet, you know, it's very open. And then here you have the reactive countries, which are accommodating, they're compromiser, they're usually good listeners, they do not contradict too much. And here you can see already difference in the countries. You see here, for example, Germany, but you can see Austria. Austria is a big difference to Germany already. Yeah, it's more relationship orientated. The red ones are very much relationship orientated here as well. And you see here Turkey in between, for example. It doesn't mean it's the opposite if it's here the opposite. It's just a triangle, okay? And I don't want to read them all, but typical things what he said is, for example, for the multicultural, and you see you are red and you are yellow. What are typical things are here? It's the way how you talk. You're interrupting. These people are people orientated. You see here, indirect, impulsive, and so on. But lots of body language. Many things you can see here. And as I see, Turkey is in between. You have also the yellow one. And again, it depends to your personal experiences and everything here. So we have here big, you use the networks, for example, you don't like to have confrontation, more indirect, and so on. I don't want to read them all, as I said. Here, you will get a PDF from the board here. I make you a PDF and you can have it. And here you can see the three, what the differences are, for example, in communication, in trust, in information, and so on. I don't read them all. But what I really like is that one. And it's so true for me. If you go in a relationship-oriented culture, like also if I talk to Turkish people, first you have the small talk and you build up the trust and respect, and then you come to the facts and figures. If you look for Germans or Luxembourg, they start with the facts and figures, then the trust, and at the end, it's the small talk. If I write an email, usually I write, "Hello Ibrahim, I need A, B, C, by then and then. Thank you, and by the way, how's your wife?" That's the way Germans writing emails, you know. So it's really the other way around. It's very funny. Also on the phone, yeah. First you talk about the business, and then you ask about private things. It's very funny. Yeah. Here there is a world map about the 3 colors, or the different colors again, so you can check the colors, your countries or other countries, if you have worked with other people together. And I have one here, and I would like you, because we have the time now, I give up the moderation. If you want to do it, if you click on it, it's 2.5 minutes. Click on it, then another window will open. You don't have to register, just write a name, in any name, and then you will be asked 8 questions, and you can see if you are more blue, red, or yellow personally. So just if you go on here then you can click the link, and it should open.
I started.
Does it work, Ibrahim?
Yeah, it is working.
Okay, then everybody on his own. It's 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. And then you can answer the questions and double check maybe if you're more yellow, red, or blue. Just give me a sign if you finished.
I finished.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm done.
You're done. I don't know if the others have done it or not. So Ibrahim, which color you are?
It's
written
I think
on the
it's
top,
red.
the result.
I think it is. Yeah, you prefer the plan. I think it's blue.
Blue, you're blue. Wow. Okay. And Christelle? It's written, the result is on the top written. You are yellow, blue. You can read it there on the last page.
Yeah, your is all linear active, right?
Linear active is blue, yes. Ibrahim,
Yeah.
you see? Can you read it? Is it Christelle? You're on mute. Christelle is on mute.
Where can I read it? I'm sorry, because I can see I'm linear active like 45%, but then
Yes.
multi-active and
Same.
reactive also.
Minnie,
Blue,
did you do
blue.
it?
I got blue too. Yes,
Blue, and
45%.
you, Serkan?
Yeah, sorry, my delivery service come. I missed last 5
No
minutes.
problem.
I am so sorry.
Oh, believe it or not, I'm red. And I'm German. So you see, it doesn't show always. Aha. I see here in the chat, linear, 27% multi-active and 26 reactive. Yeah, but then you're a good mix, huh, Ibrahim?
That's good.
Yeah, why not? So yeah, and you see, this is also this triangle. You know, I think it's very hard to say you are like this or you are like that, and it's just an idea of the mainstream, how people are behaving, and yeah, so you can't say you are 100% this and that. As you see, I'm red, for example, or almost red. So I'm working a lot with the hand, and I'm very talkative, and so yeah. Yeah, I hope you had a bit fun in this part. And as I said, you get the PDF, and you can just have a look again on it. I think it's interesting if you work with different cultures to see how they usually in the mainstream behave in communication and small talk and other ways. Do you have any questions for that? We talked so much about the differences. And for my last point today, I will show you, I don't know if you know it, a little movie. And it will be on here on the Zoom. I will share it with you and all that we share. And I like this really, really much. It's from Denmark. And I will show that to you. I will share the screen and just watch it. And as I said, I really like that. So, okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, then I will open it. And I hope you can hear it. Can you please let me know if you can't hear it?
It's easy to put people in boxes. There's us, and there's them. The high earners, and those just getting by. Those we trust, and those we try to avoid. There's the new Danes, and those who've always been here. The people from the countryside, and those who've never seen a cow. The religious, and the self-confident. There are those we share something with, and those we don't share anything with.
Velkommen. Jeg kommer til at stille jer nogle spørgsmål i dag. Nogle af dem kan godt være lidt personlige, men jeg håber, I vil svare ærligt på dem. Hvem herinde i rummet var klassens klovn? Hvem er bonusforældre?
And then suddenly, there's us. We who believe in life after death. We who've seen UFOs. And all of us who love to dance. We who've been bullied. And we who've bullied others. And then there's us, the lucky ones who've had sex this past week. We who are broken-hearted. We who are madly in love. We who feel lonely. We who are bisexual. And we who acknowledge the courage of others. We who have found the meaning of life. And we who have saved lives. And then there's all of us who just love Denmark. So maybe there's more that brings us together than we think. TV2 Denmark. All that we share.
Was hat mehr Kalorien?
Sorry.
Very good one. Good one.
Yeah, I thought.
Mr. Ibrahim, are you crying?
Yeah, but I think it's true. You know, we always look in the cultures for differences, but there's so much in common, and we shouldn't forget that we have much more than just values and other things, and to stay together. Yeah, that was my final statement, more or less, for today. And so going back to the concept board. Yeah, the last thing I want to say is thank you. Thank you for taking the time today. And as Ibrahim said, yeah, I think I shared the screen. Or are you on concept board? Yeah, great. You see the thank you maybe, but I didn't moderate, so I need to take the moderation. Yeah, to say I hope it's correctly in Turkish to say thank you, and in Thai I don't know, Mini. You can tell me if it's correct. So
It's correct.
But anyway, thank
Absolutely
you very much.
correct.
And kopkumaka, and dankeschön for today. And thank you, Ibrahim. I didn't say that at the beginning. Thank you for having me and giving the chance to do everything here to give the little webinar in a very small circle. But that's nice because it's more informal. I liked it.
Okay, thanks to you, actually, Silvia, to having you here. It was great. It was a great session, actually. I mean, it's almost 2 hours. Unfortunately, my office gets sprayed because of this COVID. Unexpectedly, I left the office. It was an amazing session. Dankeschön. And also bitteschön also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if you have any further questions, ideas, remarks, whatever, for another 5 minutes. I have no idea. I think everybody's happy if we stop earlier. Everybody's tired.
Well, it was great webinar. Thank you very much. Ibrahim also for organization.
Yeah.
And Sylvia, very great presentation, everything perfect. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and also I have to say thank you to Minnie because she organized everything and was by very short notice to change everything. Thank you so much. We didn't use the breakouts. We struggled so much because we were not enough people, but don't mind. So we learned about.
Thank you so much. So I just record the webinar and I will post on the YouTube, and I think this webinar will benefit to us and also people who watch later.
Yeah, thank you. And as I said, I will do a PDF, and Minnie, I will send it to you, and you can then deliver to the participants, so you can read everything in the PDF then.
Yes, okay.
Great.
I hope you enjoyed concept board as well. It's a bit different to PowerPoint. I don't know what you think about, but I like it.
Very interactive, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting. It's very new for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Thank you so much. I don't know. Is there a further question before we close, Ibrahim?
It was amazing. Thank you. From my side.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Was
Thank
great,
you.
Leader. Thank you. Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you. See you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Yeah.